Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another Miracle Monday. I am Latricia Penny with Ruth Up the Matter. Today's topic is going to be your story. This weekend I had an awesome experience with Valerie Simon and the Her Story Transformation of the Reformed Woman event. This month is Mental Health Awareness Month. The event centered around mental health and domestic violence, and I had the opportunity to hear some phenomenal stories from some very courageous people. And it got me to thinking, like, what is your story? Everybody had their story, and so their trials, they made triumph. They came from this thing of finding their purpose through the difficulty, and everyone who presented had actually started moving more in their purpose. They didn't allow their story, their past story, to be the thing that held them back. They allowed their past story to be the thing that catapulted them forward. So in thinking about life and everything else, we all have our story. And sometimes you don't know what anyone's story is, because to look at any of these people, you would never even think that they had been through half of the stuff that they had gone through, because they did not wear it as though they had been through so many things. Whether it had to do with domestic violence or whether it had to do with mental illness. You did not see that written on anyone's face when you saw them. They looked fantastic. They carried themselves with grace and ease, and it was just wonderful. It was beautiful. And so in thinking about that, it's like, how often do people get caught up in their stories? These people were able to move beyond their stories. But how often do we get caught up in whatever our story is? Whether our story is, oh, you know, my parents were this way, or oh, this relationship left me this way, or oh, I don't know what to do with this and the world is this way, and I can't move forward because of all of these other factors. What is your story? And so I was thinking, like, okay, so we all have our story, and some of us spend a lot of time dealing with our story. We'll talk about our story to people. We'll have a certain energy around our story. And if that energy is not to the place where it's going to push you forward, you have to be very mindful, because everything is energy. Are you telling your story to provide information? Are you telling your story to get pity or sympathy? Are you telling your story for understanding or clarity? What is the reason that you're telling your story? Because there is energy that's put into whatever your story is, and the emotion behind whatever your story is. And so do you want to continue to add that energy to the story? It's always a moment of change. And I say, hey, the rest of your story is unwritten, so how about you decide where you want your story to end? What do you want to have accomplished in your life? And then move backwards. Okay, so I want it to end this way. Let's work at what will it take for my story to end the way that I want my story to end, as opposed to being caught up in this moment. And you can be provided tools, you can be provided all of these things, but if you don't use them, they're not going to help you. So you have the tools, or you can go seek out tools, meaning that you can go get coaching, you can go get counseling, you can go get, try some new things, introduce yourself to some new things, whether it's like meditation or yoga or whatever. You can get some tools, but are you going to consistently use them? And so as you use these tools that that's been placed, or whatever you choose to do, you will notice that your story will change. But it has to be you actually using the tools, not being aware, not misusing the tools, just like, oh, okay, I'm just going to do this, but I don't really want to create change. But it's really about creating the change. And if you notice that you're doing something, it's on you to stop. No one else can make you do that. And so start from the end and work backwards and figure out, how do you want your life to be, and what things do I need to do to create that for my life? You can write your own story, but what do you want your story to be? Do you want your story to be like, oh, my life is, or do you want, like, dang, all these things I accomplished, and here's so many other things that I want to accomplish, and there's time for me to do it, and I'm really excited about my life? Where are you coming from when you're telling your story? Kind of look at that. Where are you coming from when you're telling your story? And you're always at liberty to create a new story. You're writing your story as we go. So I just wanted to leave you with that. Also, I am going to be doing a workshop this Saturday at New Life City of Praise, 1337 Samuel Street in Charlotte, North Carolina, at 10:30 to 12. free event, so you're welcome to come out. So once again, sending love and peace, knowing that you're creating miracles in your life. As you move these things out of the way and create a new story, your life will show up the way that you wanted to, actually better than you ever imagined. So wishing everyone a great week. Love and peace. See you next week.